Hello, loved ones. This is Matt Stevens, and I hope you are doing super fantastic. I certainly am. And I wanted to, I had done a YouTube short video, I don't know, a little while back. And in it, I asked, "Where are you?" And I know most people instantly will be like, "Well, I'm right here. Hello." But then they realize, "Oh, wait, you mean the real me, my true higher self." Well, okay, fine. Then they would say the answer would be, "Well, I'm outside of this. My higher self is outside of this and is jacked into this avatar, this body, this vehicle for the purpose of having an experience, for the purpose of I'm able to maneuver, so that I'm able to navigate, so that I'm able to interact in this material physical world." It's like, yeah, that all of that is true. However, where is this higher self of yours? Where does it exist? Where is it located? And that is when it kind of gets a little fuzzy, right? Little bit, excuse me, a little like, well, I'm not sure I understand the question here, Matt. Or maybe you do. But a lot of people are like, "I'm not sure what you mean by that." I'm like, okay, well, first of all, I don't have the answer. I know that there is really no there. Okay, I know that as it says in the Kybalion, that all is mind, and that all exists in the mind of the all. Meaning, so really, what that boils down to is everything exists in the mind of the Creator, the original I am, and it is all still occurring in the eternal now. Because, like, outside of this, where we exist, where we have time and distance and things like that, units of measurement, because it's necessary, because there's always a beginning and an end. But outside of this, where there is no time and or distance, it's not necessary to measure. In fact, you can't measure something that has no beginning or end. So everything must exist in the mind of the all. And I realize there are some materialist people, some, sciencey people who will disagree with me, who will say, "No, you're saying consciousness is fundamental," and they are going to disagree with me. They're going to say that, well, no, we've evolved over, the eons or whatever. Humans have evolved, and at some point, their brain became so advanced, so complex, that it created its own consciousness. But being on the spiritual side of things, most of us believe that consciousness is fundamental. In other words, consciousness existed first. Consciousness, through its creative imagination, created all of this existence, everything that we can, all the physical realms and all the other realms, for the purpose of having experiences, gaining knowledge, gaining wisdom, all of those things. And also, I was going to read for a second out of the Bhagavad Gita, as it is, in the knowledge of the absolute. It says, "This material world is a temporary manifestation of one of the energies of the Lord. All the activities of the material world are directed by the above mentioned three Vishnu expansions of Lord Krishna. These are called incarnations." And then it goes on further in the chapter there or whatever. It says, "While exploiting the gross and subtle inferior energy, which is matter, the superior energy, which is the living entity, forgets his real spiritual mind and intelligence. This forgetfulness is due to the influence of matter upon the living entity. But when the living entity becomes free from the influence of the illusory material energy, he attains the stage called mukti, or liberation." And a lot of times we talk about the veil, or we'll talk about another word that they use in Hinduism, and I'm not a Hindu, but I pull knowledge from as many places as I can. But the other word that they use is Maya, and Maya is the illusion. And Maya is also looked at is also has also been described as a veil, like a veil that blinds us from the true world, the spiritual world. So once we pass out of this existence, we then can see through the Maya or the illusion into true existence. But it says that we're pretty much blinded by the material realm. And that is necessary. It's absolutely necessary because if we were to come into this life, this existence, knowing our true power, knowing where we come from, knowing that we are eternal co creators of the universe, well, there wouldn't be much of a challenge here then, would it? Because we could come into this knowing our full power, knowing all of these things, knowing that we do have a higher self guiding us, knowing that our intuition is our higher self leading us, knowing all of these things, well, there wouldn't be a challenge to it at all. There would be no growth to be had. Because it's like with the destination, it's not there's really not a destination, it's the journey that matters. Same thing. So it's like, well, if you came to learn, but it's things that you already know on the outside, well, then what's the purpose of coming and learning it? Well, the purpose of coming and learning it is the journey. It's the getting there. It's the experience and all the maturing that you're going to gain while you are all on your way to that understanding and things like that. So back to my original thing is, well, where are you? And it's like, you are not your body. You're not your brain either. Mind is not in the brain. Now, I understand that you do think with your brain. I understand that a lot of things happen with the brain. The brain is attached to our five senses. The brain stores information. The brain, with regards to the five senses, such as the sense of taste. Because of that, my brain likes the taste of coffee. It just does. So I don't think that my higher self necessarily has a preference there as far as that is concerned. Now, that is where my personality ultimately comes from. But the filter of the brain, and I say the filter because it does filter out the things we should not bring with us. That's where the Maya, the veil, the illusion is kind of pulled over us so that we do not see the true spiritual world or even our true heritage, where we come from and our true power. But it's not saying that we can't figure it out. It's just that journey to figuring it out is where where most of our lessons and most of our knowledge is going to come from. So we do, and in fact, most of us, if you're listening to me, you're most likely very interested in this type of thing. So you are on your way to understanding. You are on your way to it, but by being on your way, that's when you're going to gain your most experience that you have. So there's that. And it's like everything is only in mind. Reality is the illusion. So it's like, well, so you're saying that, it's a dream within a dream? Yes. Dreams within dreams forever and ever. Amen. And some people will look at those things and get maybe a little nihilistic or at least a little cynical and think, well, then what's the use? If all this is some dreamed up, concocted imagination of some higher being, if I'm really just imagined, then what's the use? Right? I mean, there's a lot to be learned from it. And it's not really something that we need to be concerned about. What we need to be concerned about is gaining as much understanding and enlightenment as we possibly can. But I understand why people do feel that way. And I don't have an answer for that except to try to see past that. Because there is a purpose for it. There's a purpose for all of this. And where are we going to? We're all going back to the source, where we came from. And that's kind of along the lines of how some people are on that path now, some people are not. It's not saying we won't all end up back at the same place. Remember, there is always the eternal now. So if you get there now, or if you get there in 1,000 years, it's all the same when you get back there. It's all right now. It's all just is. Such as when it says, as it is. Everything is just as it is. So, but in an answer to those people with the sciencey people, all of these things can account for the Big Bang, expansion of the universe, human evolution, the development of consciousness. All of these things can fit into the paradigm because it fits into the illusion of the material realm. So all of those things can be worked into those equations. It's not that you have to pick one or the other. Everything can fit into that paradigm. Everything can fit into the Maya, the illusion. So there's that. And yeah, I mean, I know that some people get a little crazy with the speculating about the only answer that allows for all these theories and explanations and all this stuff is that all is mind, or there is only mind, or as it says in the Kabbalion, all is in the mind of the all. So everything is held in the mind of our Creator. And the nice thing is that everything that we can think of, everything we can imagine, can be held in all of that. In fact, a very interesting little tidbit is that human DNA, I have heard, has the capability of holding like 14 billion years worth of information. I think that's what it was, the coding for DNA. And it's like, is it any coincidence that the universe is 14 billion years old? Just a fun little fact, that's all. Anyway, loved ones, that's what I got. And I did not ask for a likes and subscribes and all that good stuff at the beginning, but that's okay. If you're still here, I would have greatly appreciated if you would give the video a like, give it a little quick thumbs up. That would be fantastic. If you have not subscribed to the channel yet, please do so. And you can find me on X. I post everything I do. I put on X. If I write something on Substack or Reddit, it'd probably be Substack and Reddit, but I usually post the same thing to both. But if I put something on Substack and Reddit, I will post a link to it on X. If I do an audio podcast, there will be a link to it on X. And any of these videos that are done, again, a link to it will be on X. So the best way to follow me is on X. So I would appreciate it if you'd find me on X, Matt Stevens, MSA for My Sober Addiction. But it's Matt Stevens, MSA. And yeah, that's what I got, loved ones. I love you, and I will be back directly.